UFC fight fans watching the
London, what you got?
From the O2 Arena,
UFC London. It's
time! It's time that they all take notice. Sign of respect to opponents. Close my eyes for focus. My time, my year, my moment. Bright lights, wild nights in London town. It could all go down for the pound for pound. We could go round for round. Stand up, fight or ground and pound. How that sound? Country pride, loud and proud. They could get lost and found with a win. You could be the talk of the town. How long I've been patient? How long I've been waiting to see fans in the stands in amazement. Had to really put time in the basement. Make room for a new generation. See the belt and it's mine for the taking. See a hype train degrading. Enough chat when it's time for a statement.
What's up, man?
I ain't never been with a baddie, but I do like a scrap like Paddy. When I lose, I that to the tally. Soldiers from Scotland to Manny. To shine in London City. In a second, it could all get gritty. You wanna see impact? Come with me. March to the O2, who's ready?
Here we go.
Let's go deep, they contest, we compete, put in work, then repeat. Octagon, when we meet, think it's time, they will see. LDN, UFC, who's on what? Come let's see, who's on what? Come let's see. It's time that they will take notice. Sign of respect to opponents. Close my eyes for the focus. My time, my game, my moment.
That's right, baby. It is back. The UFC returns to the UK for the first time in 3 years. And to mark the occasion, we've got a special preview show for you this afternoon, live from London's iconic BT Tower. I'm Adam Catterall. It's a pleasure to be in your company. Just bear me a second. This is not golf. This is the UFC. We've got to make a little bit more noise than that. We're live. That's what we want to see. It's an absolute pleasure to be in your company. It's a pleasure to be out of my basement. It is a pleasure to be in the company of these three as well, because we've got a heck of a show lined up for you, and we've got some serious special guests that are going to be joining us. Nick Peet is out of his garden shed. Yes. Good to see him. We've got the Count himself, Michael Bisping, out of his summer house that he normally does the show from, with no voice whatsoever.
Sore throat. I apologise.
And just leaving Hollywood to one side for one moment, Caroline Pearce has made it over here to the stage as well. That deserves a round of applause as well. We've got a live studio audience too.
Thank you.
And we've got one heck of a show to get stuck into. Back on British soil. How good does that feel, Nick?
Mate, sensational. 3 years in the waiting. It's been incredible. I'm sick of looking at the little red dot on the top of my laptop. I'm glad to be back in a studio and a great card as well.
And the fighters, of course. I mean, they've missed out for 3 years. A lot of British talent itching to get out there, make a name for themselves. But fortunately, Saturday, Caroline, we get to go back at it again.
Absolutely. Cannot wait. And I've been lucky enough to be stateside and covering events, pay-per-views and at the Apex. But nothing beats, and I might be biased, a UFC London card with the crowd and that national pride we have with 10 fighters from the UK on the card. Can't wait.
Well, got to be the first international since the pandemic and what have you. I know we've had Fight Island, but let's be straight. If we're getting back in the mix, we come to the UK. That's what we do. Shall we take everybody on a little bit of a trip down memory lane? Some of the fantastic times that the UFC have obviously visited his here. Shall we start with him? Shall we start with him? Shall we start with your first time here in the UK? Shall we?
Yes, please.
Let's do it, man. Let's roll it. Because this is your Cinestick fight. Talk us through it, Mike.
Yeah, so here's me walking in like an absolute maniac because I wasn't prepared for the crowd, which is what Tom Aspinall's going to have to watch as well, because look at that, I'm trying to run in, I've got my hoodie on, I've got my trainers on, mouthpiece in, gum shield I should say. Yeah, and then anyway, the fight went well, the crowd was amazing, but Tom is going to have to be ready for that because he hasn't fought in front of a big crowd, but still, the UK crowds never disappoint.
What's it like to walk out in front of the home fans compared to walking out around the world? It's
amazing, but it's also terrifying at the same time. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of pressure because you want to send them home happy. You want to give them the result that they want, So not only, there's a lot of pressure because you're going to fight, but there's 20,000 people. Not all of them, most of them want to see you win. So yeah, a lot of pressure.
Shall we talk about one of our favourite ones?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Look at this. You ready, Mike? It's you again, mate.
Oh, come on.
Man of the moment.
You're embarrassing me.
It's a beauty, is this one.
Making me talk the most and I've got no voice.
I'll take this. This is one
Let's
of my
go.
favourite moments.
Please.
Come on, play
Well,
the
I'm
tape.
being
Let's
told
go.
that we don't actually have there's a little bit of a problem. There's a little bit of a gremlin, but it is the Anderson
Live
Silva
TV.
fight. Listen,
Yes.
it is live TV. It's the Anderson Silva one. You were there. You were cage side for that. Talk me through this particular fight, witnessing this man, third round, and then obviously getting the victory in the end.
Well, let's be honest. You did tell us you would do that to Anderson Silva for an awful long time before you got
Yes.
the opportunity
Thank
to
you.
actually do it. But Mike's performance that night, listen, the atmosphere that night was insane. Obviously, Mike got knocked out in the fight, and basically the fight looked like it was
I did
over.
not get knocked
you
out.
did.
I
You
went
were
down.
out.
No,
Come
I
on.
went down.
He was
I'm
out.
led on the
He
floor
was
and I
out.
say, I'm not out, ref.
I'm fine.
having a conversation
I was there
with
as
Herb
well.
Dean.
I was
I
screaming.
went down, Mike, but I was not
All right, then.
out.
All right, then. Did you remember Caroline's post-fight interview?
I don't remember any interview.
We talked afterwards, and you were blooded from head to toe. And you probably won't remember
no, I
it. But when I think it was Herb Dean waved off the round, and everyone thought the fight was over, I was in the back. I was screaming, "It's not over! It's not over! It's not out!" And it carried on. And I just think that adrenaline dump that Anderson Silva would have had at that point. I think the reason you came back in that and won that next round.
This. Everyone says, oh, the adrenaline dump that Anderson must have experienced.
Didn't know what day it was.
Can you imagine somebody kneeing you in the face, your face getting obliterated, falling on the floor, blood gushing everywhere? I think that
A good
adrenaline
point.
dump is a little bit
But
worse.
we talked about that in the post-fight interview, but you don't remember.
No, I don't.
He doesn't remember. He went on and won the next round, by the way.
Yeah, he did.
So,
Yep.
Last time we were here, 3 years ago, obviously the main event was Till Masvidal. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's go backstage first and foremost, shall we?
Yeah.
Because you were there, you were witnessing the 3-piece and a soda incident.
The main story was not that Masvidal got the win. I was standing backstage watching Laura Sanko for Fox Sports at the time interview Jorge Masvidal. I just interviewed Leon Edwards, who'd won his fight. Leon's walking off. Masvidal exits Laura's interview, heads over towards Leon. They had that 3-piece and a soda that we all know and that big altercation. I'm waiting to do my interview with Masvidal. He gets taken off. I get left waiting, and we think they're going to fight at some point soon. Hasn't happened yet, but that was the storyline.
And I suppose the main event is kind of maybe a warning sign as well for this year. And listen, I'm not putting any temptations on what might play out come Saturday night, but if we remember, it was all about Till, it was all about Darren Till, and Masvidal came and spoiled the party for the hometown guy.
yeah, listen, I'm not going there. I'm not putting that hoodoo on the fight. I'm going back.
Scouts don't get knocked out.
Exactly. I'm going back to UFC 38, the 20th anniversary this year, when Ian Freeman produced the defining moment by knocking out Frank Mir. What a sensational moment. Made his career. I think that history could repeat itself with Tom Aspinall. Making a little bit of history himself.
All right. Shall we have a look at this year's card? Because it is stacked. Let's be straight. We've got 11 British fighters that are going to be throwing down in the O2 Arena. It's going to be absolutely outrageous. Just take a look at this here. From top to bottom, obviously, we've spoken about the main event, and we'll get stuck into that a little bit more. But that core main event jumps off the page too, between Arnold Allen and Dan Hooker. Paddy Pimblett taking on Kazula Vargas. We've also got Gunny Nelson in there. Molly McCann is taking on Luana Carolina, and we've also got Jai Herbert kicking off that main card against Ilia Topuria. And if we're looking at the prelims too, because it doesn't stop there, it's not just about the main card. If we have a quick look at the prelims, bringing that up, we've got the likes of Paul Craig, who you've been a big fan of, Nick, in recent memory. He's on a bit of a run in the light heavyweight division. Yeah,
absolutely. And as you say, he's not alone. You've got Jack Shaw on there as well. He's also having a great run. And that's the difference between these cards and cards in history. Listen, we had big moments with Mike, of course we did. But this is the first time I can truly say we've got a card stacked in the UK with UK talent across the weight divisions. Future title contenders, Mike?
Yeah, UK MMA is definitely in the best position it's ever been in. I mean, of course, I'm very proud I was the first champ, but I won't be the last. I mean, Tom Aspinall is on track. He's got a very, very tough fight. Paddy the Baddy is a breakout star. And up and down, as you say, Paul Craig on a 5-fight win streak in the light heavyweight division. I think it's 5 unbeaten. There was one draw in there. Yeah.
So let's talk about the main event then, shall we? Because there is pressure. You've done it many times, Mike. Yeah. There is pressure. You talk about it being a blessing and a curse at the same time. This is the first time that Tom's obviously been a main event. First time he's been scheduled for 25 minutes. And the first time that he's actually going to walk out in front of fans in the UFC.
Yeah, no, listen, it's going to be a tough experience for him. One that I think that he will shine through and do his best. Of course, he's got a tough fight. But stylistically, it's very, very interesting. Volkov's extremely tall, a massive reach. So Tom's going to have to try and get in and close that distance. If I'm Volkov, I'm dancing around. I'm using that length. I'm using that reach, using those front kicks that he has. Lots of nice jabs. But Tom, I think he's got a more well-rounded skill set. And obviously with the crowd behind him as well, That'll be an advantage.
Yeah.
Carolyn, we speak to fighters all the time, and we kind of get a little bit of a vibe in fight week, whether they're built for it, whether they're not built for it. You've had plenty of experiences, obviously, in Tom's presence. What have you made of his demeanour in the build-up to this and from past fights when you spoke to him?
Yeah, you're right. You know, we get one of the first conversations with them backstage, that raw emotion when that fighter steps out of the octagon and come back to us. And Tom is just very level, very humble, probably one of the most mild-mannered guys you'd meet, yet a killer in the cage, as we've seen. He's not gone past 2 rounds yet. But I like the way he's real. And backstage after his last fight, it was in September, he just fought Sergej Spivak, and he got that finish. Him and his dad, and you'll remember this, Mike, had that real emotional moment together, didn't they? Do you remember when they're having the photograph taken?
I'm sorry, you're throwing it on me here.
No, they had a really emotional moment, and you just saw how much it meant to them. And now to go from, fighting in front of nobody and headlining here in London as you've experienced, I think he's got the right head for it. But like you said, no one prepares you for what's actually gonna feel like when it happens.
Yeah, he's definitely got the right head for it. He's very, very calm. He works hard. He's in the best shape of his life for this one as well, because he knows this could be the big breakout party for Tom Aspinall. Beats Volkov, he'll become number 5 in the rankings, not an overnight star, because he's already a star. His record is incredible. 4 fights in the UFC, 4 stoppages. But if you can get this done, being the main event, he's going to be on all the newspapers, all the websites Monday morning. A lot more people are going to know who Tom Aspinall is.
Yeah. We haven't sort of overlooked Volkov, though. This guy's been there, done it, got the T-shirt. He's done it here in London. He's got bonuses here in London. He got a fantastic knockout victory the year before, obviously, the pandemic. He's walked the walk here many, many times.
Yeah, he's been there, done it, wore the T-shirt, as you say. Look, it's all about record. Look at those records. 34-9 in favour of Volkov, 11-2 with Aspinall. That is crazy. You could really argue, seriously, this is a mismatch. Why have the UFC made this happen? Why have they made this fight a guy in Volkov who's been here, knocked out a former champion of Fabrizio Verdum, fought all over the world many, many times, been a champion outside of the UFC as well. It feels like a mismatch, but the reason it's not a mismatch is because we believe that Tom Aspinall is the next generation heavyweight. He's been sensational. His entire UFC career, less than 11 minutes. That's 4 fights.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He'll just keep doing that against guys outside the top 10.
But welcome to the UFC. If you come here and you dominate the way that he's doing, if you're finishing people, I mean, look at the way he finished Sergej Spivak. Beautiful knee to the midsection, elbow, drops him down. And look at what Spivak just did to Greg Hardy.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? So that highlights how impressive that victory was. And as to your point, you're saying it could, on paper, look like a mismatch. You go 4-0. You've finished 4 good heavyweights. This is where you're going to find yourself.
Yep.
Well, let's hear from him, shall we? Because we know that he's in good spirits. You caught up with him recently. So let's hear from Tom Aspinall.
I always said, on every single interview that I ever did, I'm going to take it slow, I'm on the slow path, blah, blah, blah. But do you know what, mate? When you get given these opportunities, they don't come around every day. And what am I going to do? Say no to fighting, headlining a main event in my own country against a guy that I've been watching for 10 years. I ain't going to say no to that. So we're ready for it. It's all come at a good time, I think, and I'm looking forward to it. Oh, mate, I'd say we're not even at 50. There's so much more. I've got so much to learn, mate. I'm not even scratch the surface of stuff that I want to be able to do yet. So I'm still developing. I've got I've had quite a few fights now, but my actual time in the octagon is very minimal. So I think the more experience I get in the octagon, the more experience I get on the big stages and stuff like that. You're just going to see me progress. My progression is just going to go through the roof, and you really are going to see a new breed of heavyweight fighter, I think.
Is that he's actually taken himself, not with his training in Kaobon, it's been spot on, but he's taken himself away from Kaobon. He spent a little bit of time in Holland recently, hasn't he, to get some extra tuition ready for what is to be faced at the weekend in Volkov.
Yeah, he was over there sparring some of the best kickboxers in the world, all big guys as well, 6, head them towards 7 foot, and he needs that because that's Volkov's strength, and that just shows maturity. Yes, he hasn't had many fights, but Tom's been doing this for an awful long time, Mike, and yourself, by just adding those little bits, because it is tough to get big sparring partners in the UK, as you well know, tough to get the right guys. The fact that he's gone over Holland, just at the end of his camp, just to add that little bit on top, is that more, not necessarily for the quality of the work, but for his own confidence that he could handle it?
Yeah, well, it's a bit of both, because they always say you're only as good as the people that you train with, and if you're the best person in the room, if you're dominating everybody, they're getting better, you're making bad mistakes because you can get away with it. So going over to Holland, training with those guys, he's going to get pushed to a limit, but also it's going to give him confidence as well. So he's going to get better, but when he steps into the cage or when he's backstage warming up, he knows he's done everything he can. You know, he knows he put the yards in. He went to Holland. He sparred with the best people possible, because that will help. Because honestly, you know, fighting is such a mental sport. And when he's backstage, if he hasn't been sparring with those guys, that doubt starts to creep in, that little inner dialogue. Yeah. And he'll be thinking, was my sparring good enough? Did I have the right people, the right training partners? Well, the answer to that now is a yes.
Uh-huh. What do you make of the lad and dad vibe, by the way, on this card? Because there's a lot of it. We talk about Tom and his connection with his dad. We've got Jack and Jack Shore and the connection with his dad. There's a lot of family connections to this card at the weekend.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I think Caroline touched on it a little bit earlier as well. That, you know, having that moment, and that was something I spoke to them both about, both to Andy and to Tom. I said, will you have a moment backstage at the O2 where you pull each other aside and kind of say, listen, son, we've made it, we've done it. And they both said, no, absolutely not. Because we've been training for this to be normal. This is our job. This is what we've been working towards. It's not like we've achieved any big goal. Okay, it's nice for you to say, it's first time headline the O2. Yeah. Okay, we're ticking boxes. But for them, that's not the journey.
Well, that's right. Get into the UFC. That's when the hard work starts. Yes, it's amazing. He's in the UFC. He's main eventing at the O2 Arena. I mean, that is just an incredible accomplishment. But the real accomplishment is to be the champ. He started this, when he was just a little kid, training with his dad, rounding out his skill sets, and he's living up to the hype, living up to the expectation. But there's still a lot of work to do.
What's fight week like for the main event?
A nightmare.
With people on the phone asking for tickets and all those types of things.
Interviews. Fans, don't get me wrong, they're awesome. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of pressure because you're trying to focus on the fight. But unfortunately, that's what comes with the territory. You want to be a superstar, you want to be on top, you want to be the main event. Great. But just know a lot of work comes with that. But it's a necessary evil.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, it's not just about Tom and the main event. There's plenty of other fights to get stuck into. As I said right at the start of the show, 11 British fighters doing the thing, and 2 of which come from his home city, and we're going to be previewing them next. The Baddie and Meatball are going to be, you're going to be hearing from them, and we're going to be talking about their prospective fights as well, right here on BT Sport.
I'm Meatball Molly McCann, and on Saturday night, I am going to be fighting on the main card. I am going to punch my opponent's head in, and our Patrick is going to finish the lad in 60 seconds, and it's going to be a Scouse takeover once again.
You all know what's coming Saturday night. I am going to absolutely punch this crab's face in. So stay tuned live on BT Sports for it, people.
Welcome back to the BT Tower here in London. I'm Adam Catterall, Nick Peet, Michael Bisping and Caroline Pearce alongside me. Can you just do me a favour and translate what we just saw there? Am I allowed to ask what a crab is? Is it a derogatory term? Are we allowed to put it on the... Not allowed.
Well, he says no crab, comment. Lizard, just makes up insults.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. He's on top form anyway. Both of them are on top form. And I think what we should do is maybe focus what could happen next for Paddy the Baddy, because he's been speaking to BT Sport and setting his sights high on a certain football stadium.
And you've got a dream, haven't you? You want to bring it here. You want to fight in this place, don't you?
I know I'm going to bring it here. I know I'm going to eventually fight here. You know what I mean? I've visualised it and I've imagined it over the years, and now it's getting closer and closer to happening, and I know full well it's going to happen. It's going to happen over the next 5 years, something like that.
There are people that are going to make it happen, aren't they?
Yeah, this city will make it happen. This, like, fans of this football club, we're not just fans, we're a family, you know what I mean? Well, big event in 11 days. First time the UFC have been back in London for 3 years, and it's the first ever time they've had Paddy the Baddy on a card. So it's going to be
big.
It's going to be unbelievable. That's why the tickets sold out in 2 minutes. I could sell out the O2 on my own. I could sell out Wembley. So it's gonna be another special night, just like tonight. These Champions League nights. The atmosphere is gonna be next level, and I'm gonna take over. I'm gonna absolutely beat my opponents up in less than 5 minutes, and it's happening.
Incredibly confident young man, as I'm sure we all see there. Nick, you've been documenting his career for a long period of time, way before UFC. The demographic that comes to a Paddy Pimblett fight night is something quite unique. I think anybody that's going to be attending Saturday and people watching this on BT are going to witness something quite special.
It's insane. You know, it really is. When you walk around the city, it's kind of like a little version of modern-day Beatlemania. Got all these little kids everywhere, all ages. Like Paddy, they turn up at the gym, they've got homemade Paddy the Baddy T-shirts. Like, you literally can't walk down the street. He gets mobbed everywhere. And I think they just feed off this personality that he's got, this character that he's kind of built for himself. But it's all off the cuff, you know. It's none of it's re-rehearsed or anything like that. It's just the way he is.
Well, a lot of people watching that might think, wow, this guy's so cocky, you know, but as a wise man once said, you have to conceive, believe and achieve it. And he's doing all of that at once. And listen, that's what you need to be like as a fighter, though. You have to believe in yourself. If you don't have the confidence, you're not going to perform well. Of course, it's a double-edged sword. Too much confidence, you get cocky, you get arrogant, you don't do the work. But you need just enough. You need that right amount.
Yeah.
It's an amazing amount of pressure, though, that he's putting on himself with speaking like that, isn't it, Mike?
No, absolutely. And listen, Kazula Vargas is a tough guy. He's wild. He's very athletic. He hits hard as well. Listen, I think if Paddy can get his hands on him, take him down, he has a massive jiu-jitsu advantage. But it's not going to be easy. There's a reason why Kazula's here, and I hope he's not overlooking him, because he's been a bit distracted this week, getting into it with other people, you know, having a lot of arguments in the hotel. You know, he's got a job to do Saturday night. Try and stay focused. That's
kind of Paddy, though, you know. I think Paddy and Molly, they like the chaos. They like you to be bonkers around them. They're not the type of fighters that want to go back to their room and wrap themselves in cotton wool and everything else. They love the chaos. They love the madness.
We obviously all went wild here in the UK for the debut. It was fantastic. You were there. You were backstage. What was the vibe like from people that have maybe never come across Paddy the Baddy before?
It was crazy. We're in Vegas at the UFC Apex, and it was like Liverpool had taken over, and they were backstage and they were gearing each other up. And you know what? I almost think they're best together. They're fantastic individually, Molly and Paddy, but together the energy's on a whole nother level. And you know, I was talking to Paddy, interviewing him. Molly's doing an interview next door. She's screaming over, saying, "Scousers don't get knocked out," and they're bantering backwards and forwards between these two interviews, which is absolutely fantastic. So individually great. Put them on a card together, and I think that level raises one more time.
I was commentating, and the noise in that place was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, they were singing, they were chanting. It was like a mini O2 arena. There really was a lot of energy.
Regarding Molly, as you're right to bring up, I mean, she's had a busy week herself on BT Sport. The live story came out, which was absolutely fantastic. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you do, because it's absolutely brilliant. But from her point of view, I think she's really grown and come of age, or since the victory last time out. What have you made of her from speaking to her?
You know what? I think she's gone through her own personal journey as well. The documentary's out. We're going to learn a lot more about her background, her book. She's doing all these incredible things. And I think she's setting a real example. She's pioneer. She's pioneer for English MMA, setting a real example for other women, other people that want to pave a way when you come from a difficult background. We hear those stories of male fighters all the time, but for a female fighter like her, it's incredible. And you know what? Molly's another one that just has a fantastic energy about her and demeanor about her. And she's an absolute warrior. You know, when she steps in that cage, she is going to give it absolutely everything. Last time at UFC London, that black eye, and she's Insta-storying from the ambulance going off to the hospital. I mean, that's Molly.
Well, every single fight, we were talking about it before, she's calling them on, even at the end of the fight, high output, crazy conditioning, but she loves to fight, really comes alive when she's in the octagon, and I love it.
And she even said to you, Nick, didn't she, in an interview, you said, well, she's taller, she's rangier. She said, well, what's new? I'm always dealing with that.
Yeah. Shortest reaching the UFC.
Correct. One of the good things about this as well, she's already picking up these accolades all the way. First English woman to win in the UFC. We're now getting another one at the weekend because she's on the main card. First English female to be fighting on a UFC.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, here she is.
She's in the house.
There she is. I can hear now. Going off in the background there, yeah.
I love it.
But first English female to be on the main card in the UFC.
Yeah, and you know what? These are things that Mol doesn't take for granted either. You know, she knows she's a pioneer. She knows she's on this journey, and she knows she's inspiring the next generation of female athletes to come through. But the best thing about Molly, she's enjoying it while she's doing it. She's never been in a bad fight, Mike.
It's a sign, though, that the sport is growing out here. Yep. First female on a main card. I'm sure it won't be the last, of course. The sport's getting bigger and bigger in the UK. Look at all these fighters around here. I mean, it's amazing. We are represented so well, and fair play to Molly.
Weight must be good if she's gobbing off and giving us a lot of abuse like that there before. Unbelievable. Shall we take a look at some of her work? Here's Molly McCann.
Oh, that's it, Mo. There we go. Look at Molly, though. Look, she's like a woman possessed in there. I mean, she's... Oh! What happened there? Clash of heads, I think. Yeah, a clash of heads. That's what dropped her. That's a real shame for Molly. Onto the feet. She's good. She's working her way back up.
McCann needed a moment to kind of shake the cobweb.
Nice. Oh, late flurry from Molly McCann.
Be aggressive with her. She doesn't. Yeah. Click around. Buddy, you ready? You ready?
Fight. Look at Molly just walking it down. She's got the heart of a warrior. You gotta love it. Whatever Molly lacks in reach, she makes up for in desire and work ethic and pressure. And Molly spoke this week. Her mother's been through a lot of adversity in her life, some addiction issues. You know, said, listen, we're cut from a different cloth. If I can go through that and see what her family's been through, then you can go out there and win this fight. But look at this.
Oh my goodness. Nice left-hand connection and a right from McCann. Oh,
Molly, she's an animal.
Oh! One. The meatball is rolling downhill. Wait, go crazy. What a fight, Molly McCann.
Bonus this weekend, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Of course.
Mol, bonus this weekend? Pinky swear. There you go. There you go. Pinky swear, as she says. Now, you may have seen the fantastic promo that we've put together with Koji Radical. I'm very pleased to say that Koji's actually joined us and is with Caroline.
He is indeed. That promo, that track was absolutely fantastic. Welcome to the show, by the way.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute goosebumps watching it. If you're a UFC fan and you're not ready to jump into the arena right now and watch, I don't know what, but tell us about the making of it, because I hear it didn't quite go to plan.
Storm, what was it, Eunice? Yeah, derailed everything. I went there thinking I was going to be with all the fighters and that they was going to be behind me doing all the mixed martial arts, and they told me I had to do it. But it's fine, you know.
So
I'm
the
always...
fighters didn't turn up?
Nah.
So you're told, I'm doing a promo, these fighters are going to be here, but...
They told me I just had to come rap, and then I had to come punch, whip stuff, grab the hammer, couple knees, ground and pound. Yeah. I'm ready for it all, though. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, you wouldn't know. It's fantastic. Maybe you got away lightly there, not having to deal with all of that. But no, definitely. So I know after almost a debut as an artist, you're about to release your
it's come out now. Sorry. Yeah, no, my debut album's come out. We did well. I think we was #1 in the R&B and hip hop charts, #11 in the official charts, #1 on iTunes, #1 on iTunes hip hop. We're doing all right. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a good day for me.
There you
Do know
go.
what I'm saying?
Congratulations. But I also know you're a big MMA fan.
Massive.
So what do you think of this London card and the lineup of British talent?
I'm just excited that the UFC's back in the UK. Do you know what I'm saying? I think it's been a long time coming. What has it been? 2-3 years?
3 years.
3 years. I remember the first card like it was yesterday. A lot of up and coming talent, especially. I think there's a lot of people I'm excited to see.
Yeah, who are you most excited? Yeah.
Tom Aspinall. I've had my eye on him for a minute. Definitely Molly. Obviously, I'm a Molly fan just because of the way she screamed in that lady's face. It was real ready to go. You know what I'm saying? I like that energy.
Yeah.
Nathaniel's going to do well. But I think there's a lot more. I think there's a lot. Paul Craig.
Yeah.
You can't argue with Paul Craig. I think when he's on form, he's a monster, and I think he's got a good chance this weekend as well. So I'm excited to see it.
You know your stuff. Have you watched Michael Bisping fight before? We got him over there on the desk.
Yeah. What are you saying, G? One of the first fights I ever watched was one of when you won against Silva.
Nice.
Yeah. Big up.
That was a good one. Thank you.
Yeah. It wasn't too bad.
Pick up yourself.
It wasn't too bad.
He had us on the edge of our seats there. But
Yeah.
look, it's fantastic to have you here. Good luck with your work and enjoy the fight.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Back to you, Adam.
Top stuff, Caroline and Koji. Did you just say big up yourself?
I don't know what I said. Okay, he said big up to me. I'm like, big up.
It's down
bruv.
with the kids.
Well, you're from Clitheroe, man.
I live in California. I'm a gangster.
That's true.
Come on.
That's true.
Listen, we've got a ton more stuff coming your way. We're going to get stuck into that main card very, very shortly. I know that we've done the main event. I know that we've done the Scousers, but we've not talked about the co-main. And that is an absolute cracker, which could lead to maybe world title shots later on this year. And we're also, hopefully, going to be speaking to Leon Edwards. Not go anywhere.
I'm Arnold Allen, and I am going to beat Dan Hooker on Saturday night. Tune in on BT Sport.
I'm Tom Aspinall, and watch me in my first main event this Saturday against Alexander Volkov, live on BT Sport.
Welcome back to it here at the BT Tower in London. I'm Adam Catterall. We've got Nick Peet, we've got the Hall of Famer Michael Bisping, and we've been joined by somebody else. Not on the card this weekend, though.
Not this weekend.
Rocky, how's things? You well?
Very well, very well. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to have the UFC back in the UK and in London, and I'm excited to watch it as a fan, you know. I can imagine the atmosphere is going to be crazy.
Is it kind of mixed emotions, though, not being on the card? I mean, of course, hopefully you've got a massive fight coming up soon, but not being in there Saturday night, how does that feel?
A little bit disappointed. Like I said, the fans are going to be crazy, you know, to have 3 years off and now coming back to the UK, and I can just imagine how the fight's going to feel, walking out and seeing the crowd and the noise, you know.
Don't forget, if it wasn't for the pandemic, you were supposed to be headlining at the O2. You're supposed to be the main event. You missed that one.
Don't mind him, man. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Exactly, you know, I was the last car before it got cancelled because of COVID, and so like I said, but to have it back now, I'm just happy to be like on corner one of my teammates and to be watching it as a fan.
Listen, we know what we're going to call for in a minute, all right? We know what we're going to call for you, but I want to talk about, because you're working a couple of corners this weekend. Is it just Jai's who you're working?
Just Jai. Also Arnold as well. He did his camp at my gym as well, so I was looking for his fight, him versus Hooker. That's a great matchup, you know, so it's a fantastic card for the UK, and I cannot wait to, like I said, enjoy it as a fan.
How's Arnold looking?
Great in camp. He looked fantastic, you know. Like
a lot of wrestling?
A lot of wrestling, a lot of striking as well, and just mixing it with the guys, you know, and it's good to have him, like I said, to attracting guys back to the UK now to come back home and train. It's fantastic.
How are you enjoying that? Because we spent a little bit of time at Renegade watching you take a few classes, do a little bit of coaching and what have you. Are you enjoying that aspect of life?
Yeah, 100%. I think coaching helps with your fighting, because the more you coach, you're learning as you're coaching, you know, so I think that plays a big part in my improvement as a fighter as well.
And that gym, like we've just mentioned, Arnold came up to train with you. We've got Jai coming out there. Your brother's in there. There's quite a few fighters that are doing extremely well.
Yeah, exactly. You know, from the West Midlands, from Birmingham, it's not really heard of, you know. So I'm proud to be the front runner of it, pushing it, spurring it on, and I'm looking forward to now getting my UFC title.
Well, the boss man's over there. I mean, what are we saying? What's the answer?
When we get him in, you know we'll go there.
Listen, the boss man's going to be joining us very, very shortly. But let's talk about you.
Yeah.
We know what you want.
Yeah.
This is the time now, isn't it?
Well, if it's not, when is, you know? I'm on a 10-fight winning streak, one of the longest in the promotion. You know, I've done everything the company have accessed me, took fights that I shouldn't have took it, and I've won them all, you know? So I feel this is surely the time for me to fight for the world title.
How has the last couple of years been for you? I can only imagine extremely frustrating, because we've said on many occasions on BT the amount of fights that were booked, fell off, didn't happen through various reasons, through COVID reasons and various things like that. Then you have the Bilal fight, which doesn't play out as you want, really, with the ending. And then you have the Nate fight, and everybody talks just about the last 10 seconds. Well, you were fantastic for the first 4.5 rounds in that. How have you found the last couple of years?
A lot of ups and downs, you know, like I said, from the cancellation in London last 2 or 3 years ago. From there, it's been like a roller coaster of emotions and things I've been through, you know, but like I said, I've stayed strong, stayed training, and still improving.
The last time you did lose was to Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
So how would you compare yourself then to now?
I'm a total different fighter, you know, as far as like wrestling, grappling, striking. I've improved so much, so has he. This is why it's two different fights. I think if any of us go into the fight thinking it's the same fight, we're going to lose. We would look at it as a brand new fight and two brand new opponents, and I cannot wait to show my skill set and to put the UK on blast, you know.
It's not just the belt though, Leon. You've got add on to the top. No, but add on to the top as well. The guy's pound for pound. He's the pound for pound #1 in the world. So you get that title as well as the belt.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, to be the pound for pound, get revenge.
Does it work like that?
Yes.
Do you become pound for pound? Do you become the man?
Yes.
But I don't know. Does it work like that, Dana?
It does.
I don't know. Hey, I hope it does.
I hope it does. But like I said, to go out there, compete against him, beat him, win the world title, it's going to be amazing. I cannot wait.
Welcome to the club.
The first man to do it from the UK. The second. Listen. Either way he did it, you know, it doesn't matter. He's the first guy from the UK to do it. He's the first guy from the UK, so I'll be the second, and I'm looking forward to it.
But on that, Mike, obviously you've been the pioneer, you've been the guy. Now we're in a real rich vein of form when it comes to British mixed martial arts. Obviously, he's the front runner. We think, fingers crossed, we'll speak to the boss in a minute. We think that he's going to be next in line, but there's others as well on this card that we could speak about that are not too far away from maybe getting themselves into title contention.
Yeah, well, certainly Tom Aspinall, main event. I mean, he's the one that stands out to me. I mean, 4 in a row, 4 stoppages against good competition. As he said, Sergey Spivak, look what he just did to Greg Hardy. You know what I mean? And Tom made it look easy. And if he can have a similar kind of performance against Volkov, who's very experienced, I mean, come on. I mean, it's got to be a huge fight next.
Yeah, listen, I'll tell you what, Paul Craig isn't a million miles away either in the light heavyweight division. You know, he's right up there and he's a problem for everybody at 205.
Right. We've got to speak about the co-main. You've just spoke that Arnie's been in the gym with you. He's he's looked absolutely fantastic on the mats and what have you. This is the biggest name that he will have faced in the UFC. And if he can get a win over someone like Dan Hooker, he's in the chat.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, he's come to train with me. I see what he did day in, day out and how hard he works, you know, so he deserves to win and I'm looking forward to it. So Hooker is a great talent as well. And I'm like I said, it's good to be a fan, you know, and I'm excited for the card.
What do you make of Hooker coming down to 145,
well,
Mike?
I don't know. I think he's trying to find himself. I mean, obviously, he's lost 3 out of his last 4 against very, very good opposition. So no shame in that, but he went up to 155. Now he's coming back down to 145. He says that that's his natural weight class. I don't know if it is. I think maybe he's looking for not easier competition because it's not easier, but maybe smaller guys, maybe less wrestlers. I don't know. Listen, Dan Hooker, you have to respect the body of work, the attitude that he has. He'll always step in. He'll fight anyone, anywhere, you know, and he's very good. He's very, very dangerous. So Arnold, you know, he's probably got the grappling advantage. He's got a great coach in Faraz Zahabi, but you can't overlook Dan Hooker.
I seen him Tuesday, Dan, and he was incredibly lean. I tell you now, the next 12 hours are going to be horrific for Dan Hooker.
Look at you, eh? But I'd say something, what a fight. For the fans, that co-main event is going to be absolutely superb. Stylistically, it just works, doesn't it?
It does. It absolutely works, you know, and I think this is the opponent that Arnold's been desperate for. You know, Arnold changed it all together. The whole spectrum of mixed martial arts, he changed it all together so well, but he's been desperate for name. That's what's missing off the resume, a name. And Dan Hooker's a name.
He's only been fighting once a year as well. So the strength of schedule has really been affecting him because, you know, listen, he's fantastic. He's on an 8-fight win streak. It's incredible. But he's not really known. He's not very outspoken. Not that you have to be, but when you combine all that stuff and he is very quiet with only fighting once a year, it's going to kind of slow down the momentum, you know?
Try and get him a title fight next.
Yes.
What do you reckon, yeah?
Please.
Shall we do that? The boss is in the building. We are going to be speaking to the UFC President Dana White next here on BT Sport.
Guys, UFC London is just around the corner. You can catch it this Saturday on BT Sport 1, and we're going to rip the rest of the roof off the O2, so tune in.
I'm Jack Shaw, and on Saturday night you can expect me and my Welsh army to put on the performance of a lifetime and finish Tanu Avalu live on BT Sport.
Welcome back to the BT Tower. I'm Adam Catterall, Nick Peet and Michael Bisping alongside us, and we're now joined by the UFC President Dana White. You better give him a round of applause. Come on, you've got to make some noise for them. There you go. That's what we like to see. Dana, we just saw there in the promo Paul Craig saying about ripping the rest of the roof off. How much of a stress was that when you were seeing the storms coming through London and the roof needing to be replaced?
Nothing stresses me out anymore after what we've been through the last few years. But yeah, no, I'm excited. We're not going to need a roof on Saturday night. Believe me, the roof's going to blow off this place. We haven't been here in 3 years. And like I was just saying to Mike, the talent on this card is probably the best we've ever had out of the UK. So I'm excited to see what these guys can do on Saturday night.
Well, of course, in the main event, we've got Tom Aspinall. Massive fight. He's doing incredible things in the UFC right now. How close to a title fight would that put him if he can pull it off?
I mean, if he wins, he breaks into the top 5. So it's a big fight for him, man. It's a big deal. And it's a very important fight for the heavyweight division.
As atmospheres go around the world, I know that you go all over the place. When you come to London and you're at the O2 Arena, there's something quite special, isn't there?
Yeah. Anywhere in England. I mean, Manchester's fun too. You know what I mean? It's a different type of atmosphere here. The fans are different. And, loud singing, chanting. It's just, I tell everybody, there's a lot of people that are coming over from the States for this fight that haven't been here before. And I tell them all, you're in for, it's special. It's different.
And of course, we have Paddy the Baddy making his return. I mean, this guy's just exploded, come in the UFC. He's everywhere. Anywhere you look, he's there. He's calling people out. He's talking smack. I mean, what do you make of Paddy?
Yeah, no, he's fun. He's a fun guy. Smack talk's fun. You got to win. So
exactly. Yeah, that's the tough part.
Yeah, everybody keeps talking about the excitement of the walkouts and all this stuff. You got to win fights. So believe me, he comes in and has an incredible walkout and the crowd goes crazy and he wins.
Awesome.
If
he loses.
do you understand him when he speaks?
Sometimes.
Do you want to teach Dana some Scouse, Nick? So he can understand?
Scouse, Dana. Can you say, can of coke?
Can of coke.
Can of coke. Coke.
For some reason they talk like that.
No, I understood what you said, so that wasn't
That's
right.
all that matters. But in terms of Paddy, though, listen, in the UK, he's been a big star for a long time. But after that win in Las Vegas in the Apex, globally, did the UFC, did you see the metrics rise? Did you see a lot of global interest in this kid?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that has that thing, and he has the potential to be a star. But here, you got to win fights. It's not just about being popular. It's not about how many people like you. You got to get in there and you got to win.
With that being said, a little earlier on the show, we were speaking to Paddy. I know that you love the arenas. We love the O2 Arena. But if he keeps winning and he keeps going, his ambition is to do it in a football stadium at some point in the future. Could you see that happening?
Yeah, I think that over here in the UK, when you have the right fighter in Australia, you could do football stadiums. So we'll see. Yeah, I obviously would love to do that.
In the co-main event, special fight, Dan Hooker taking on Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen, you probably heard me saying before, he's on an 8-fight win streak. And a lot of people are saying, this guy should be fighting for a title sometime soon. If he beats Dan, which is a tough one, where does that put him?
Yeah, I mean, Dan Hooker's the guy. You beat Dan Hooker, everybody's going to know your name on Sunday and everybody's going to take you serious. And, again, you beat a guy like Hooker, now you're looking at breaking into, the top 6, 7 in the world. And in that division, you're looking at, first of all, you got to get through Dan Hooker. Then you have nothing but straight killers after that. So, it's an exciting place to be for him if he wins on Saturday night.
And of course, Volkanovski needs fresh challenges. I mean, he's a dominant champion.
100%.
Yep.
We've got some questions from our audience members. I'm hoping that Leon Edwards is in the audience and maybe could throw a question your way. All right, make sure that Leon gets the microphone at some point.
Well, you know what? Let me
do it.
Let me
do it.
How much bad luck has that kid been through? You know what I mean? He's been through it all. And there was a time, this was a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if you heard me. I hope you heard me. But, I was talking about how nobody wanted to fight Hamzat. He was going to fight Hamzat twice.
Crazy.
He was going to fight Hamzat twice in the position that he was in. You know, you can't take anything away from this kid. He absolutely deserves the next title shot. And yes, I'm wishing for nothing but good luck for Edwards this year. He's had a rough run.
And he's that on the Kamaru Usman fight.
Yeah, Usman, we're waiting for his hand to get cleared. His hand gets cleared, and he's got the fight. Yeah.
Maybe.
Could International Fight Week be the potential? Is that a bit too soon?
It could be, yeah. Could possibly be.
That'd
the
be
flags
huge.
for July, baby.
Let's go.
We're going to Vegas. That's what it's all about. Right, let's get these fan questions for you, Dana. Caroline, over to you.
Yeah, there you go. Are you ready for these, Dana? We have vetted them for you, don't worry. So, kicking it off is Dan Rumans. What's your question?
Dana, what's the one fight, all being equal, that you'd like to make this year?
Well, let's get Leon his fight. That'd be great to get that done. But the other one is, it'd be good to see John Jones back this year. He says he wants to fight heavyweight. I'd like to get a John Jones fight at heavyweight this year, if that's possible.
Fantastic. Matt Connell, what's your question?
Dana, when can we expect to see some of UK and Ireland's favourite fighters, Conor McGregor, Darren Till? Will we see them in 2022?
Yeah, so, you know, everybody keeps asking me about McGregor. We're looking at possibly the fall if the doctors clear him. So we'll see what happens. And then Till, you know, he's been hanging out with his BFF, his new BFF out.
Them two are cuddling on the couch right now.
I'm actually going to dinner with them on Sunday in Vegas. So I'll have more answers on that after I meet with them.
There's a potential TV show there, Dana.
Hey, be careful. I was in a car with them in Vegas last week. They almost killed me. Hamzat driving on the wrong side of the road towards traffic. I'm like, Hamzat, you're on the wrong side of the road. Brother, relax. No problem. I
smashed
there's
these cars.
a problem, okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to die.
Caroline, back to you.
We've got some questions here from social media. Simon from the UK said, hey, Dana, what do you think about the possibility of an all-UK Ultimate Fighter?
All UK Ultimate Fighter. I like it. Yeah, possible.
Okay. Alex Dugdale, what is your favourite UFC London moment? I know Bisping's next to you, so you might feel compelled to talk about one of his performances, but what one stands out?
And now it's not going to be authentic.
I don't know.
You told him to say it.
No, off the top of my head, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't in England. Obviously, my favorite Bisping moment was when he won the title. You know what I mean? That was in California, but I was in the back. When he won the title, I was in the back dealing with the Diaz brothers just got in a fight with the Guida brothers, and I was backstage dealing with that while you were winning the title. So I had to go running out there from the back. But, you know, like I said, I have really good memories of Manchester. We had some fun out in Manchester. So, but off the top of my head, I don't know.
All right. Greg Hadrell, what are some of your favorite things to get up to when you're here in London?
Some of my favorite Indian food. My favorite thing when I come out here. I never eat Indian food ever unless I'm in England.
It's some of the best, absolutely. And Pan Tadek, are you still against a 165-pound division, even though it could help create the first triple champ?
Yes, no, I do not. Yeah, there won't be one.
Okay, that wraps up our questions from over here. Back to you, Adam.
Cheers, Caroline. Just a quick one on the man that stood next to you. I know that you're very fond and have a great relationship with him. How much of a pioneer was he for British mixed martial arts?
Yeah, no, he was. If you look at his season of The Ultimate Fighter, you know, representing the UK and then going out and doing all the things that he accomplished, not just, you know, all the big fights that he had and then winning the title. But, you know, now after his career, he's still here. And, yeah, what an amazing career this guy's had. Yeah.
Thank you.
Come on, give that a round of applause. That's what's needed.
I'm not here to talk about me.
No, we are. Dana, thank you so much for your time on the show, and thank you very much for bringing the UFC back to London. We're looking forward to it at the weekend. The roof is most certainly coming up.
Me too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for your time.
Right.
Give a big round of applause for Dana White, ladies and gentlemen. What an unbelievable show. You enjoyed yourself, boys?
Mate, been sensational.
Very much so.
Yes.
Good.
I'm
right.
ready.
Right
I'm
then.
ready to fight back.
I can tell, boys. I can tell. Right then. That's about it from us here in at the BT Tower. There's still plenty of live action on BT Sport over the weekend. Over on 1HD, it's day 2 the second test between the West Indies and England in Barbados. Elsewhere, it's European football taking centre stage. Rangers looking to defend a 3-goal lead against Red Star in the second leg of the Europa League round of 16 tie. That's on BT Sport 3. Whilst over on ESPN, Leicester take a 2-goal lead to Rennes as they seek to reach the quarter-finals of the Conference League. Then on Saturday, it's the big one, UFC London live on BT Sport 1. Make sure you tune in from 6 p.m. for the prelims at the O2 Arena with the main card starting from 8. Listen, it's St. Patrick's night. We're probably going to go out for a couple of scoops and get ourselves ready for this action. They've already started chatting. Obviously, they've got a dinner reservation. They don't even know that we're still live. Look at them. They don't even care. Anyway, make sure you come and join us on Saturday night because it's going off.
Bright lights, wild nights in London town. It could all go down for the pound for pound. We could go round for round. Stand up, fight us round and pound. How that sound? Country pride, loud and proud. They could get lost and found with a win. You could be the talk of the crowd. Can't let anyone take notice. Sign of respect to a public.